Hi, everyone. I'm Richard Piacentini from Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'd like to talk to you about our new project, the Center for Sustainable Landscapes, which is our education, research, and administration building. And use this as an opportunity to see if we can answer the question, can we create resilient places that are healthy for people and the environment and show how we could share our limited planet's resources with everyone? Phipps opened in 1893 at a time when people thought there was no limit to the amount of natural resources we could use or the amount of pollution we could produce. In fact, people thought we were going to conquer nature. And this isn't the answer. Then in 1993, we went private, and we immediately got interested in green buildings. And we went and built the first LEED certified visitor center in a public garden, followed by the first greenhouses ever to get LEED certified, and then the most energy efficient conservatory in the world. By this time, we found ourselves thinking in systems, which is how nature works. And we started looking for all the connections between people, plants, health, planet, and beauty. And beauty is important because beauty is what inspires us. And we then, in 2006, we heard about the Living Building Challenge, which is also based on systems thinking. And it's the most rigorous standard for green buildings in the world today. And we got very excited about this and decided to go for it. In doing so, we decided to put together a team that would demonstrate the great talent we have in our region. So our entire team came from either Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania. And they immediately got involved in an intense integrative design process that went on for 2 years, where we brought the entire team together every other month to work and design the building together. It was an incredible process. The building opened in December 2012, and it's now being recognized as one of the greenest buildings in the world. It's net positive energy, which means it makes more energy than it uses from on-site renewable resources, and it's done so for almost 3 years now. It also treats and captures and treats all its sanitary and stormwater on site. The building is the only building in the world to achieve 5 of the highest green building standards, including it's the first and only building to get 4-star site certification, which is like LEED for landscapes, and it's the only building in the world to get 5 platinum well building certification, which is a new standard which looks at creating healthy places for people to live, work, and play. It's an incredible place for our staff to work. It's also open to our 350,000 visitors a year to come through. They can go through the atrium, through the green roof garden, through the gardens all around on the landscape. In doing this, we realized we shouldn't stop with the building, and we've gone on and created a whole series of new programs that are related to connecting people to the importance of the environment and human health and the connections between the two. We also realized that we need to walk the talk in everything that we do, and a good example is with our cafe. In 2011, we started creating programs for children's health, and we decided that we needed to stop selling junk food and soda in our cafe. We're very focused on connecting people to nature, particularly children, because this is how most children connect with nature these days. And this is a real problem because there's lots of research that shows that kids who don't connect to nature when they're young are probably not going to care about the environment when they get older. Several years ago, I heard a statistic that said that if everyone in the world were to try to live like we live in the United States, it would take 7 planets worth of resources to do that. Well, that's obviously not possible. Yet most people in the world want to live like we live here. That means we need to be smarter about the way we live and the way we build our buildings. The fact of the matter is we have the technology today to build buildings that are beautiful and are healthy for people and the planet. You know, when you hear the word resilience, a lot of times you think about being off the grid, which this building is, but we think a resilient world is one in which we live in harmony with nature and we live lifestyles that allow everyone on the earth to share the earth's resources so that we know we can leave future generations a world worth living in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amy, would you like to start up?
Sure. Side by side to a, let's call it regular building, or a building that kills the environment, how much more does it cost? And is that a resilient model?
Well, we didn't keep really close estimates on the cost between this and a traditional building because our goal was to build a building that reflected our values. So we didn't pull the calculator out until after we made the decision to make it net zero energy, net zero water. Once we did that, we decided how can we make it be the most efficient building we can within those parameters. But when you get down right to it, the building is a little bit more expensive than a typical building. However, this building will never have an energy bill, an electric bill, an air conditioning bill, sewer bill, things like that. And we're now in the process of doing 2 more living buildings. We're actually doing we just installed a modular living building last April called a Seed Classroom, which is a very low-cost building that meets the Living Building Challenge. And we're also renovating our old Public Works building on the site to meet the Living Building Challenge, as well as LEED Platinum, as well as Well Building Platinum.
So this is an outrageously good building. It is, of the buildings I know, it's among the greenest in the world. There's hands down, no question about that. The work that you've done to sort of blur the line or completely destroy the line that has separated the narrative for resilience from a design and construction perspective and from an operational perspective and sustainability or green building has been, I think that's hugely, I love the intersection of those two things because you can't have one without the other. I guess my question is, if you had things to do over again, what would you change?
I would have done it a lot sooner.
Nice, wonderful.
No, it just makes sense. Once you do a building like this, you can't go back. It just makes so much sense to see, especially when you look at it from the point of view for what's going on in the world. We have to start changing the way we do things. We can't keep living the way we're living. And we need to start demonstrating much better models for the rest of the world to emulate. And I think that's a responsibility we have. And I think it's something we could do. And a good question that Amy asked about, is it affordable? This first one that we did was a lot more expensive. It was one of the first ones to be built, so everybody was learning. Nobody knew. There was no experience from people who went before us. Now it's starting to get a lot easier. And now we've also demonstrated, through the modular building, through this renovation project, that these are things that we can start doing these things now. There's no reason to wait.
I'm curious if you see this building as a kind of template for next steps and what those next steps might be.
Well, yes. Well, we have those 2 other buildings that we're working on right now. We're also creating a lot of programs connecting environmental health and human health. We started a whole research program called the Biophilia Institute, where we're really looking at how does the building impact human health? How does the connection to nature impact human health? In fact, we just signed an MOU with Delos, who put out the Well Building Certification Program, and the Mayo Clinic to work on original research in studying how this building affects people's health. So we're very interested in this whole intersection of the built environment and the natural environment and how it impacts human health and environmental health.
I just had a quick question on how your building relates to the communities that surround it and the larger Pittsburgh area. How do you draw those 2 things together?
That's a really good question. First of all, this building is open to the public, or most of it's open to the public, so the public can come through as part of their visitor experience. We also involve the universities in the project and their students, and they're actually doing research projects in the building right now. They have sensors all throughout the building. And by working with the students and studying the building, we've actually been able to improve the performance over the past 3 years. So it's everything from the students through the community. There's quite a bit of interaction.
Thank you so much. And my apologies again for my little mix-up.
That's okay.
Thank you.